to another episode
of Unscripted with Nello
and Obi. How are you guys? How have you guys been?
Hi everyone. They've been buzzing. Everyone has been buzzing about our podcast. Our friends and family have been so supportive.
Thank you.
And we're hoping you guys go and subscribe. You can share in your auntie groups. Share in your auntie WhatsApp groups.
Your what's that thing called again? My
what's that?
My African auntie groups.
Yeah. WhatsApp group, auntie groups. African auntie groups.
Any other
that's
groups?
The only way we can actually grow this podcast and get more people to listen.
Yep.
And also, we would really love you guys to also send in your comments and messages so that we know where to steer our podcast.
Give us we also welcome you guys telling us, if you have any topics you'd like us to discuss. We're open to it. So remember, we're unscripted. So
we're unscripted. We are not editing anything. You're gonna see
cue
as
cards,
it is.
nothing.
Yeah, straight from the heart.
Yep.
So what's our topic for today?
Raising Gen Z. I'm sure my children are scurrying for cover. They're like, "Mommy, don't do it."
Yeah, raising Gen Z. So we're in our 40s. I'm 46, and my darling friend here is 49.
Yes.
And as you can tell, we have children who are of that age, early teenagers, young adults, or getting into young adulthood.
So I've got 2 girls,
and I have 2 girls of my own again, even though I have a boy, which is a mix in the group.
And my girls are what they call Irish twins, which means they are just a couple of just slightly
months.
over a year apart. So about what?
Is that what they call them? Irish twins?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, I think that's what they call them, Irish twins. So they're
Irish twins. You learn every day.
14 months apart. So they're called Irish twins. So yes, they are thick Gen Z. Because they told me, when I told them that Auntie Chinelo and I were going to do podcasts, my first daughter said, Mom, I'm not sure, in a very thick British accent that I'm going to try and copy. But no, I'm not going to copy. She was like, Mom, you really want to do a podcast? I'm cringe. I'm a bit concerned. I'm worried because your views are strong. Sure. I don't want you to be cancelled. Don't call my name. Don't say anything.
Yeah, my daughter had the same view. She's like, Mom, I don't know if you're woke enough.
Woke.
And I'm like, I'm woke. I think I am. I think that can be quite empathic to Gen Zs. So there was this particular question that you had for me, and I think that's going to kind of lead us into this conversation very well.
Yes. So the question is, there was a time, a long time ago, a couple of years back, I saw a billboard ad, and the ad said, if history was a crease, where would you put it? And Chinelo was like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
I said, listen, if you could in other words, if you could fold history, where would you put it? She now goes 100% Gen Z.
Yes.
And I said, really? You want to be these people? Not this generation, you know? No offense, Gen Z. I love you guys.
I love Gen Z. I absolutely adore them. Like, for me, it's the audacity. They are so audacious,
They are.
fearless.
They
are fearless. Just speaking from my own daughters, watching my girls grow.
Yep.
The things that my girls who are 14 and 16, what they're thinking now, to be honest, I never even thought about those things in my 20s. I'm sure I even started just thinking about them in my 40s, to be honest. Like, they are so audacious. I just want to be them.
Isn't the reason why we did this so we can have space for, what's our generation? What are we called?
Oldies.
You guys don't listen to us. I am fine wine. That's how
Is that what they call it? Is that what they call us?
No, that's what I'm describing myself. You say oldies. You are
I'm oldies.
I'm
I
fine
beg.
wine.
I am oldies in my
aging
ways.
like fine wine. I don't know. Anyway, whatever we're called, for me, when she said she loves Gen Z, I can relate. I love Gen Z. I love the fact that, because I have 2 girls who are Gen Z, they're the things, like Chinelo said, the things they say, oh my goodness, their audacity, they're bold, but my own thing is Gen Z don't have a lot of them don't have depth. They're very almost, you need to be very careful how you
Around them.
Yeah, how you handle them. It's easily, oh, you're cancelled. They're very into trend, and trend is good. I mean, look at TikTok today. It's they're doing one kind of dance, the next minute they're doing this. I mean, if you
Their attention span is they have a very low attention span.
so short.
Yeah,
so
very
short. You can't.
But I think in every generation there's always the pros and cons, right?
Yeah,
And I think this is
absolutely.
the generation that is going to lead us to the future of this.
They are doing it already.
Yeah,
They are.
The audacity has limitless. And if we could all live like that, can you imagine if our 50-year-olds, our 60-year-olds, our 40-year-olds can live the way that these young people live?
There is definitely an angle to it where you just said, where we can. It's not. I don't know if I entirely want to be Gen Z like that. I think I probably would pick from each one. If somebody, So going back to my question, if history was a crease, where would you put it? Mine would be to put it. I know a lot of you might just think
In the 80s?
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
Further back?
No, the gladiator time. when gladiators, when what they call them, the Roman,
the Greek,
yes,
the Greek
that's-
Empire.
Absolutely, the
Oh
Roman
my
Empire.
God!
that's
I don't want
where-
to live in the Roman Empire
But
time.
if I'm going to live during that time, I have to be very wealthy. I mean, I have to be rich, because those.
Do you know that women were not seen in those days?
not? Listen,
I wouldn't even be able to even sit down here and do a podcast during the Roman Empire.
Yes, but
except
there-
I was Cleopatra.
Yes, but there are things, their way of life. There are things women. That's why I said I want to be very rich. I want to be very rich. I want to be very beautiful. And when you're all those things, you're adored in those days. Yeah. So maybe some of you might just think, "Kai Obi, they crazy. It's okay."
No, I think so.
Every-
I definitely
You're-
think so.
you're entitled
Because
to your own
you
opinion,
will
but-
become like we would be. Basically, we are like. In fact, you'll be nothing.
I
So,
don't
so
agree.
you only have to be
I don't agree.
as a woman during the Roman Empire. The only way you'll be seen in any capacity is if you are wealthy, beautiful, and
Well,
a queen, basically.
when you think about it now, when you think there's an element to that, even in this time, even in our generation, even here with Gen Z, not just Gen Z. Fortunately, we're living in a world now where women are more what's the word now? Empowered. That's the word, But also, let's not forget that we still have the ones we have Gen Zs all over the world, but we still have the Gen Zs that unfortunately are not being seen or heard as well. So for me, looking at my girls, to take it back to raising Gen Z, looking at my girls, the things they talk about, the things that they're concerned about, coming from, I said to them, a lot of Gen Zs are on social media. A lot of them. Now, it was interesting for me to hear my daughter's perspective on being a Gen Z, what they would do differently. One, she said, I'm not going. When the time comes and I start having children, I'm not going to let my children be on social media. She goes,
Okay.
Mom, I'm going to take a lot of. I'm going to raise them the way you raised us. In terms of no phones. Read a book. Go and do activities. Go swimming. Do athletics. Do something because there's a lot of what's the word that she used? There's a lot of we underestimate how much time we spend on social media, and especially for children. In fact, Gen Alpha, according to her, they are another thing because literally a lot of them have grown up.
Those ones live in metaverse.
Your tablets, you see kids.
They wear the metaverse and then
know?
they're in a different world. But I think this is also about the way the world is also evolving.
Yes.
The world has changed in so many ways. And I also think that as they grow, social media in itself is going to evolve.
Yes, I agree.
They are almost like the learning canvas
Yep.
for what the future is going to hold for social media in general. I think social media space affords this opportunity, for example.
Yes, absolutely.
Which we couldn't have done maybe
No,
like 20,
no,
30 years
no,
ago,
you
or
know?
we would have found it much more difficult to be
Yeah.
able to reach you
Yeah.
and hear your opinion, and you hear ours in such a almost like a very fast.
The speed of lightning.
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. So I think there's always pros and cons in every generation.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
But the world is moving and moving very fast, especially with this generation. And it's almost as if I want to be able to live to see what their generation is going to be like, because I think it's going to be very fun. And yes, there is always going to be like I said, pros and cons, and maybe like the lack of depths and very tender. Maybe the human race will become tender and forgiving and show kindness. They don't show kindness, to be honest. They are quite brutal.
They're brutal, but they're
In their
brutal.
feedback.
But they are.
But they're honest, brutal. Like, it's not like they're lying. They're not capping. I got it. My daughter is gonna be like, "Oh, she didn't just say that.
You didn't just say that.
They'll be
Cringe.
like, Mom, don't. They'll just be like, don't.
I think it's there's a balance. There's a balance. When I look at my girls and the things that they say, the things that they do, like you mentioned, I think for me, what I admire most about Gen Z is their fearlessness. That's good. But also there has to be a balance where there has to be depth as well, because you get a lot of them that are depressed, not sure. They find another thing I've noticed with Gen Z, because it's so much social media, when they're in person, when they meet each other, some
Social
of them
awkwardness.
Oh my goodness, some of them struggle so much to make friends, to just be, I remember there was a time my daughter said to me, she goes, "Oh, Mom, you make friends so easily. You can just meet somebody and start up a conversation." She goes, "How do you do that?" I said, "I didn't know it was like a skill or something. I guess it's my generation. We just meet each other and we just say, hello."
But has that always come natural to you, even in your, like, trying to remember when you were in your teens and early 20s? Did you find it easy to make friends in that way? I don't think
When
so.
I think about it, I wouldn't say I found it easy to make friends. I had my awkward moments, I had periods where I wasn't sure or confident, which I guess some might find hard to believe. But I think I just got to a point where I became very whole in myself and also have a strong awareness of self, and that absolutely helped me. And in raising my girls, this is what I teach them, to say, have a very strong awareness of yourself, of who you are. And always show up as the authentic version of yourself. And some people will like it, some people will not like it. I mean, it's not everyone. I go into a room and I just go. Sometimes I just sit, I look back and I just observe. And somehow you gravitate towards those that are your
people.
When they said this person is my person, and that's how I was able to tell them. I said, oh, just because I speak to somebody because I can, you might just find something that you guys have in common and it can just be a conversation starter. And you just begin to understand that, or rather find that you guys have some things in common. But yeah, for me, Gen Z, it's also that they're so a lot of them are so should I say very, very, I also guess this is the reason why we spoke to a Gen Z before we started this, and I said, you get the ones that would be like, I said, oh, my children goes, we're going to be cancelled. And she goes, it depends, on what you're going to get cancelled on. Because if you're cancelled on, if you don't care, about what, this is you, we're doing this is our
Once you're not directly being offensive to anybody, I think there's no fear of, anybody cancelling anyone. I think, again, this is just our point of view. It doesn't make it right.
Yep.
We are raising Gen Zs
No, I
in
wouldn't
a
say
way.
it doesn't make it right. It's our point of view.
It's our point. Well, doesn't make it like, your point of view is wrong.
Yeah.
It's just the way we see it from our own experience, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give us your point of view. What do you guys think?
If you're raising Gen Z,
if you're a Gen Z, we want to hear from you. Do you agree? You guys are all of that. We love you guys, but sometimes some of you don't have depth.
But I love the fact
backbone.
I also love the fact that with my girls, I can be there. I know some people don't agree with being a pal to your children. They'll be like, I'm not your friend.
That was me.
That was you.
Yes.
So have you changed that?
No, because I feel, not that I believe that mothering goes through stages. When they are now at that stage where it's more like supervisory mothering. We're not at that point where, oh, I can say, oh, you're my friend and all of that. No, I'm still your mother. But I'm grateful for the fact that I've been so open with them. They can come and tell me anything, you know? So that plays a part. But I'm not one of those that will go, oh, we're friends, we're this. And no. You will still accord me the respect as your mom. But I would give you the what's the word now? I will extend the same respect to the point
When you say
where
respect, what does that really mean? In what way? Because what we call respect in our days is different from what Gen Zs call respect. Sometimes I'm having an argument with my daughter, and I'm saying you're being rude, and I say to her, oh, you're being rude, and she said, no, I'm not being rude. I'm just being factual.
No. Then that's when we'll dial it back. And I will say, no, you're being rude. And this is how you're being rude. You wouldn't speak to me in that manner. Don't speak to me like you're speaking to your friend. That's why I tell my girls.
So how would you expect them? What would you have expected? So basically, they're just having a conversation. So basically, the way I look at it is like, when I was growing up, there's no way I'll sit on the couch and me and my mother will be having this like banter. Do you get me?
You know?
Like this conversation, which I do with my girls, right?
Yeah,
And I'm like, first of all, you're even standing there, whether you're being rude or not. First of all, you're even like 10 miles away from your dad or mom, right? But with these children, they're kind of just sitting next to you, just chatting like they're talking to their mates, right? And then you go, I think I find out quite rude. I'm very open with conversations because I feel like no parenting is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no child you can't use the same blanket to parent two different children, because if not, you close them off, you know? So I personally don't do the whole,
No.
you're rude, don't talk.
No.
But I would communicate to you that the way you're talking to me is being rude.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then they will say something like, but I'm being factual.
No.
In reality, they might be factual. Whatever they're saying is true. It doesn't mean that they're not fibbing. They're actually saying the truth.
Okay, so this is the difference. If I say to my daughter, you're being rude, and she goes, no, I'm being factual, that in itself is being rude.
But that just being factual is just a word.
This is what I expect, or this is how my child would address me. If I say you're being rude, she goes, oh, really, mommy? I apologize. I don't mean to be rude, but it's just, this is how I meant. Then she has received that I said you're being rude. So adjust your, no, you won't tell me, oh, I tell you you're being rude and you tell me, no, I'm not being rude, I'm being factual. That itself is being rude. So it's a case of, oh, you're being rude. Oh, okay, I apologize, mom. I don't mean to come across as rude, but this is what I meant.
So when someone says to you, oh, mom, by the way, I don't mean to be rude to you, but X, Y, Z, that for me, I feel like is already rude by the fact that you're highlighting that you don't mean to be rude.
It is, I think also it's, like you said, again, it's point of view. I don't want a situation whereby at the end of the day, we want to raise girls that are
mindful,
emotionally balanced, have depth, be audacious, be able to speak up for themselves.
Yes.
That is, listen, I'm big on that. I tell my children, you don't shy away. You stand up, you speak for yourself. You let your voice be heard. Don't let anyone diminish who you are or your light. Or you mentioned something about, oh, nobody is, there's no perfect parenting. To a very large extent, but it's literally being perfected. We can't get it 100% right, but it's also me. I say to myself, and I think that's one thing I love. I'm learning every day.
Yeah, we're
and
all
I am
learning. Yeah.
I'm hoping that as I learn more about their quirks, why do they do the things they do? Why are they so different from our generation? Like you mentioned, I mean, I remember a couple of months back or so, we had a party, and one of my girls were talking about their dad, and she kept doing that, you know. That is this, that is that, that is that, you know? And it's just normal because she has a very healthy relationship with her father,
Yeah.
you know? And I remember if you were there and the person was like, wow, I love Gen Z. Imagine me talking to my father.
But
and we're
this
doing
is really, I think personally, I think just coming from my age point of view and also being African and in that
Yeah.
culture, there are so many things. Again, you were talking about respect, and I said, what does that even mean? Because, what is respect? That you say somebody shut up and the person is still talking and you say you're disrespectful, but then they're actually just voicing their point of view or their
No,
opinion.
but there's respect.
No,
There's
no,
respect
no,
in
no.
every generation. Just if
Yeah,
somebody can't just come and
it's-
tell me to shut up. How? Why now? For waiting. Yes, I'm African auntie like that, guys.
I know, yeah,
Don't
but
get it-
yeah,
don't even
don't
forget
get it
that
twisted.
one at all.
But I think that at the end of the day, it's also about communication and balancing, especially with these Gen Zs. I think that they want to be heard, right? And rightly so, because for me personally, in my growing up, you talk after the adults have finished talking.
Yes. What do you even
And
talk?
that's if you're given,
If
if
you're
you're
given-
asked to talk. So first of all, you're a child, you talk when you're told to speak. And then you grow up into a woman, you speak when you're invited into the conversation. So for most of the time, you're actually muted. You're actually not allowed to express yourself. And I love the fact that this young generation, these young people they can stand on their two feet and they can speak with boldness with their head held high. They are not cowering. They are not hiding behind anything.
Yeah.
They're coming out. They're saying it as it is.
Yeah.
And then you make of it what you want.
Absolutely.
But one other thing I like about this whole thing, and with my girls, for example, is that you cannot change. I guess you cannot say. So if they feel like they're not being disrespectful, you cannot make them see that they are. If they already feel like they are not,
They're not. You know.
you get, like, you're not going to win, because they're going to come up and tell you all the different elements where they feel like, I haven't done anything really that is. Do you understand? And then if you sit back really truthfully and think about it, you will come to think that, I think I was just overreacting, and most of it is actually overreacting. They can be quite easy to parent, I think.
Gen Z easy
I
to
think
parent.
so. I
really?
think so. If you can, if you come down to their level.
What do you guys think, Gen Z?
What do you guys think?
You
Do you
think they're easy to parent?
I think they can be quite easy to parent. They can be quite well.
I don't know. I think
it's-
it depends on the
depends
child
on the
and how
child,
they've
yeah.
been brought up. But I think there's I don't know if I'll say easy.
their risk appetite is something else, though.
It's
They don't even have risk in their
there's no-
dictionary. They don't
it's
even know
almost
what it's like.
limit.
What's that?
There's no limit. There's no. They just want to.
They just want to live life to the
Just-
fullest. But I also think the generation that also lived that kind of life were the 80s. So the teens of the 80s, before the HIV pandemic came in, they lived this kind of like.
Are we not teens of the 80s?
No, I wasn't a teen in the 80s, babe.
Okay, no, we're not. Sorry. Yeah, that's
I'm not an oldie. I'm an oldie, actually.
the,
But yeah.
the twins.
The
I said
teens of the 80s
of the
would be
80s.
like the 60s. I don't know what they call their generation.
But depending on where they're from, if they're from our part of the world, we're from Africa, oh boy, we'll give you to do it.
Anyways.
It's the West.
Yeah, it's been,
But-
again, another
Anywho, guys,
interesting
I've said it again,
conversation.
guys. Please let us know your thoughts, what you think. What are your thoughts? Are you parenting any Gen Z? What are your thoughts? How are you finding it? Let us know, and Gen Z, come and hear from your aunties.
Yeah.
We want to hear your thoughts as well.
Share with your African aunties or your aunties in general. I think the goal of our podcast really is to speak the truth
Yep.
of women in their 40s.
Yes.
And yeah.
Is it like, share, subscribe?
Yes, please
Follow.
share, like, subscribe, follow, all of the above.
All of the above.
We're on Instagram and TikTok as Unscripted with Nello and Obi,
Obi.
and of course on YouTube channel Unscripted with Nello and Obi.
Obi.
So
So
till
guys,
next
until the next time,
Thank you for watching.
thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.